Hey everyone, my name's Jim Bob. How the hell are ya? So I'm going to dive into a topic today. Now this topic is very, very close to my heart. It is something I'm very passionate about and something which I feel that a lot of people need to speak up about. Now this may not seem on the same level as some of the stuff that goes on in the world nowadays with, from a political standpoint, but this is more of a respect the people around you kind of standpoint, which really, really bothers me that some people just don't give a shit. And I'm going to dive in today about annoying people at the cinema and exactly what I think, and maybe how cinemas can change the environment around them, how they can make this workplace better for their customers and for themselves in general. Because at this point in time, I don't think that they're doing a very good job, especially the cinemas around me and especially my local. So let's dive in.
Excuse me, Chief. I got something here you might want to see. I hate when people talk during the movie.
So first things first, why do people go to the cinema?
Why do we go to the cinema? To escape.
It's an escape from the reality around them, from their lives. They can get sucked into this brand new experience called a movie for an hour and a half to 2 hours, maybe even 3 hours, maybe even 4 hours if you're talking about the Snyder Cut of Justice League. And personally, going to the cinema for me has always been something that I enjoyed. Back before I got my own place and had a bunch of responsibilities and hours going up at work and stuff like that, I used to go to the cinema once a week, every single week with two of my friends, and I used to love doing that. I would see whatever is going on there. The cinema I go to is what a lot of people in the UK would know as Cineworld, and I'm a Cineworld Unlimited member, which means you can see as many films whenever you want, as many times as you want, and you get discount on snacks. Now that sounds like an absolute bargain if you ask me, but is it really worth it when you go there and you know that at the back of your head this experience could be potentially ruined for you?
Lord, I'm having a damn, this is some scary shit.
Excuse me?
A real hair right there. Mind.
For Christ's sake, will you just shut your trap? Shut up!
And you may say, oh, but if you can see as many films as you want, whenever you want, then it's not that big of a deal. You can just go again, right? No, wrong. Flat out wrong. It doesn't matter how many times I can see this film. I want to enjoy it whenever I go. Now, this is where my little catchphrase, or whatever you call it, for my channel came from. It's not just a movie, it's an experience. That's what I mean by it. When you go to the cinema, or when I go to the cinema anyway, it is an experience every single time. When the lights go down and you're sitting in complete darkness with a crowd of people just soaking in the entertainment and the art that's in front of you. Now, some of my experiences may not be as crazy as some of the other YouTubers that have put stories out on this platform. Still, it's enough to boil my blood to the point where I want to erupt like fucking Mount Doom. And it's because of the issues at hand which I'm talking about today that have gave me so much anxiety in going back to the cinema that I've barely seen that many films this year. There were so many new releases that I could have gone to see. I mean, lockdown restrictions in the UK lifted around July and I've barely been. I've probably been like 3 or 4 times in the space of nearly 6 months because I'm just worried that if I go back there, it's going to be ruined for me. Now I know I shouldn't think like that because occasionally I can go there and nothing will happen. Like I remember seeing A Quiet Place 2 and Venom Let There Be Carnage at the cinema, and both of those experiences absolutely perfect. Not saying the movies were all that great, but nobody spoke, no distractions. I was just sucked in from beginning to end with this film and I walked out satisfied. And it wasn't necessarily the fear of COVID that was stopping me going, it was just the anxiety of just going in there at the back of my head playing over and over again, oh, somebody is going to ruin this for you. And it's because of these complete disrespectful, condescending pricks that have stopped me from enjoying the cinema as much as I used to. And granted, there are a lot of streaming services now that stream new films all the time. Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, Hulu, HBO Max. There are a lot of things that you can enjoy entertainment just from your own home. Now yeah, that's great. You can sit there in silence and watch the film. You can pause it when you want to, go to the toilet when you want to, stop and grab a snack if you want to, but it will never ever be the same as a satisfying cinema experience where you sit there in complete silence and enjoy the film. Again, if I'm going back to my catchphrase, it irritates me when people just say,
it's just a movie.
No, it fucking isn't. Films are made by people. People put effort into these things. There's direction, cinematography, special effects, acting, writing, scripting. There's all this shit that goes into it. Films that are made by thousands of people working on the same project, and we want to enjoy that shit. So if you want to go to the cinema and talk all the way through it, why don't you just stream the bastard thing at home instead of ruining it for everyone else? Now, I remember recently when I went to the cinema and I was sitting at the very back with my friend, and just to the right hand side of us there was a whole group of about 6 teenagers. And I'm not saying teenagers in particular are disrespectful, I'm just saying that that's who they were teenagers, that's all. The thing is as well, they turned up about 5 minutes late, and so they were walking around trying to find their seats while the film was on, and I'm thinking to myself, would you please just sit down? So that's one thing. Be on time. Just be on time, because I could be completely sucked into this story and really getting into it, and the last thing I need is a group of people walking in late, trying to find their seats, walking up and down the aisles. It is really irritating. But that's not the most irritating bit of what these kids did. As soon as they sat down, that's when the talking started. They were like passing sweets and shit to each other, talking, explaining who this character was. I mean, for fuck's sake. If you had to explain to these people who these characters are, why have they never watched a Marvel film before this? I was watching Black Widow, by the way, if you don't know. I mean, guys, honestly, if I wanted director's commentary, I would just wait till the Blu-ray comes out and fucking watch that. I don't need to hear your irritating voices. Now, God bless my friend and his superpower to just drain out anything, because literally, the amount of times I've gone to the cinema with him and people have been talking, he somehow manages to drain it all out and still manage to focus on the film. Like, how the fuck does he do that? Come on, you prick, teach me these powers. I don't know how he does it, because the slightest noise ticks me off and I get sucked out of the film immediately because all I can focus on is that. For example, whether it's people talking, popcorn bags, which for some reason they're made of fucking paper, which I can't understand why they're made of paper. It makes so much goddamn noise. Why they put drinks in the cinema in like those plastic cups with a straw, so the slurping sound sounds like... Why? Why can't you just put them in ordinary plastic bottles? When the person opens it for the first time, it might make a little fizzing noise, and that's about it. It's like the cinema's supposed to be a place where you can go and get away for a minute and get sucked into the art that's in front of you, right? But it's like these people deliberately make every single snack the noisiest thing fucking possible, and I really don't understand why. Do you want some advice, cinemas? Put popcorn in trays like this. This tray is made of plastic. You can buy them from fucking B&M or Home Bargains. So much less noisier than a paper bag. Put drinks in normal bottles like this. If it's a kid's drink, a fruit shoot or something like that. So much less noisy. When you open the top, and that's the only noise it'll make. Whereas you put it in the cup that you have for an hour and a half straight. Like, especially when some films are made to be so confusing, like, I don't know, Tenet and Inception, where you really have to pay attention to every line of dialogue. How can I do that if you have snacks like this? I mean, if no one's talking, that's great. But say, for example, they are talking, and they have popcorn, and they have a drink, I'm gonna kill myself at some point in the next hour and a half. So yeah, what I'm saying is, put the snacks and the drinks in containers that aren't loud. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Okay, it's not. Now, as for the irritating people that just talk all the way through the film or some other shit being on their phones or whatever,
fuck you to the moon.
There used to be an advert, right, that actually broadcasted before the film started, not to talk. I mean, you see Lara Croft bash these two idiots' heads together and then walk off, and it says now talking. I mean, granted, there are adverts like that now, but nothing struck like shut the hell up like that advert. And I swear security used to be better back then as well. Security is another thing. I know this isn't the staff's fault. They're just following their cinema policy or whatever, the policy that the company has gave them, right? But it's like they will come in every now and then to check if everyone's being quiet. Here's the thing, everybody. They will be quiet if they see a staff member standing there, and as soon as the staff member walks out, they will continue with any annoying shenanigans that they're doing. I have seen this happen time and time again. I remember watching the Lion King remake a few years ago. There were these two irritating girls quoting everything that they heard from the original film. Oh wow, you understood that reference? Nobody fucking cares! And then when a staff member walked in, completely silent, staff member walks out, they continue doing it. Do you see where I'm going with this? It's kind of like when a baby is like playing in something that it shouldn't, and when its mum and dad are watching it, it will sort of behave for a few minutes, but as soon as mum and dad turn their back, it'll continue doing what it's not supposed to do. time. How could you fix this? Kill them. Have a security guard in every single screen at every single time, keeping an eye on these idiots. Because maybe if more people were quiet during the cinema, more people would start to go more. Do you see where I'm going with this as well? People are drawn away from the cinema and onto streaming services because they can't be arsed with the shit they have to deal with when they go there. I'm slowly getting to that point, because they now find more comfort watching the film from home because there are no distractions. But if you were to somehow stop the distractions in an actual cinema, more people would start to go. So, a couple more points and then I'll wrap this up. So, snacks. Put them in containers that don't make noise. To stop people talking, have a guard in every single room. Granted, people won't always shut up, but it would definitely lower the possibility of someone doing it, because they see like, oh, big hench Gary over there, and if you talk, he's gonna pick you up by the scruff of your neck and throw you at the fucking window. And finally, people turning up late. They should treat this exactly like they treat a pantomime or a grand theatre or an onstage play wherever you come from in the world. When the play starts, the doors are shut. They're shut. When the film starts in a cinema, close that fucking door. If you're late, then you're late. Whether being late was your fault or not. If you walk in after the lights have dimmed, after the film has started, someone is going to get distracted. Like me, for example. It is so annoying, especially when it's like a bunch of kids or something and they just mess around, run around, and the kids are like, no, Timmy, sit in your chair. No, Sally, don't touch that popcorn, it's been on the floor. Like, for fuck's sake. Usually when it comes to talking, I usually let it slide if it's a bunch of little kids just watching Frozen 2 or something like that. Like when I went to watch Frozen 2, there were kids talking, but I can kind of forgive that because they're just kids. But if you're a teenager through to adult stage, you're old enough and daft enough to know that that's disrespectful. I think the biggest problem when it comes to cinemas now is that people just don't care. They don't care. They will go there simply for something to do, to kill off an hour and a half of time. Now, if you want to talk through the trailers or like the adverts before the film starts, that's absolutely fine, because I do that. But as soon as those lights dim, as soon as the movie title pops up to tell you exactly what you're going to watch, that is when you just shut the hell up and enjoy what's in front of you and respect the people around you. God's sake, it's not that hard. You see, like, what worries me is that I will be put off watching anything in the cinema ever again with the rate that it's going at. But I know that there are certain films that I have gone to see where the audience is respectful, but all that now is based on chance and luck. If we really want to end these problems, cinemas need to do more. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say. So yeah, thank you for listening, guys. If you like what I do here, consider clicking that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Remember, it's not just a movie, it's an experience. Take care, everyone, and have a good day. Oh, and by the way, don't bring your fucking newborn into the film either.